Alright, yeah, sorry about how long that little edit was. It was supposed to be like 3 minutes, but just because everything was so fun and I had to include everything, like, kind of for the sake of the rest of the team. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to just record this little extra bit to go on the end because I wanted to make sure that you realise that this Samburu mission wasn't just a whole load of fun. You know, it was a classic gap year adventure, but it was also so much more than that. I've got a little clip of me speaking from literally like 2 months ago, right at the beginning of the mission. So at first, within a couple of days of arriving, we split up into these 4 different groups to go to these 4 villages. That was Kaleswa, Namarok, Seren, and I was in Kaisipo, and that's why there's loads of footage from Kaisipo. So yeah, let's hear from the man himself. Here we are in Samburu. See the kind of terrain I'm walking on at the moment. Yeah, just to say a word about what's actually going on in my life right now. Today's like the 4th or 5th of April or something. We've come up to this region in the north of Kenya called Samburu for a little mission type thing. Like the main thing that we're going to be doing in that month is we'll be doing a week-long kids camp and a week-long youth camp in the middle of it. And so what we're doing now, so that we can fully understand the culture as much as possible, we're basically living next to like Samburu villages so that we can fully understand the way they live and know like how to apply the gospel to them when we're teaching them the Bible and that kind of thing. We literally have nothing. I think we're going to go visit one of the villages this afternoon, but we're like a little bit of a walk away, which is kind of annoying. We're living in a little school basically. It's just a room. But yeah, you can kind of see the area. There's just nothing here. It's a really bad drought, so everything's just dying. But yeah, it's all good. Oh look, there's a goat. Apparently there might be a leopard around here, but hey, that would be a good experience. Oh yeah, there you go. Goat. Not leopard. But yeah, no showers, not great food. Actually no, we got lots of biscuits. But yeah, I'm really excited to just go and see the cultures and just live like them, to understand them, you know. But hey, yeah, that's our accommodation in the background. There's just 5 of us here for a few days, and we're just gonna be completely self-sufficient. We've got a big drum of water, got some rice, some maize flour. Hey, you know, living the life. But yeah, it's good fun, and it's just a good experience, you know. Everyone in the West is just so comfortable. You don't really realise it. Like, it's kind of a joke, really. But hey, I'm here now, and this is what it's like. Okay, let me explain some stuff. I've literally got no idea where to start, so I'll just blurt out random things as they come to my head. So like, yeah, the whole journey was literally like 15 hours or so. We left at 7:30 in the morning and got there past 12 midnight, so that first day was pretty suckish, really. Like, you know, the whole journey is just bumps and stuff. But yeah, so basically, there's this full-time missionary family up there in Samburu called the Cowan family. They're actually from Northern Ireland, and they've been there for I think 28 years now. And I think the most mind-blowing thing about the whole experience was seeing how their full-time mission, their dedication and hard work had absolutely made the biggest impact on the area you could possibly imagine. I think that was the most moving thing that I'll take away, and that will change my life the most, is seeing that mission can really work. You know, it's just amazing the power of the gospel in this area. But anyway, so what this guy Stephen Cowan used to do is he would take his Land Rover, he's got 6 now, he'd park it outside a little village and just sleep in the Land Rover and spend like a week interacting with all these people and getting to know them, doing evangelism and stuff like that. And so in our first week in Samburu, when we were then going out to these villages to kind of invite people to the camps, just to generally see how people live and get an idea of stuff, like, you know, we'd go to each of those houses' doors and say, hey, we know Stephen. And then these people would come out like, oh my goodness, yeah, I know Stephen. Like, they literally, you know, you could see the impact that Stephen had on them, and how many of them had sort of become converted. I mean, I don't know if they're actually saved, but because they don't have the Bible in their language, and so it's impossible to have any follow-up or anything, and that's why mission in this area is so difficult. But, you know, it was kind of mind-blowing seeing the impact that Stephen had had in that area. And so, yeah, we did actually see a lot of people in Kaisipo. That was a complete misrepresentation in this edit, because I didn't want to just be like BBC News filming all these people, so, you know, there's only like one instance where I actually filmed the people in the village. Otherwise, all those children had just come to visit us in the place where we were staying and all that. So yeah, we saw a lot of Samburu locals, like fully range of ages, young mums. Like, it's amazing seeing the cultural issues there. You have all these young marriages. Like, there was a young girl in one of the clips who looked like 12, and I think she was already married. You know, the beads they have, I can't quite remember the specifics, but, you know, if they're wearing beads, it means like they've been female circumcised, you know. That's still a massive issue in that area, which is something that only the gospel can actually really tackle. But I think the most moving thing was seeing how these people, you can give them food, and like we did, and you can give them water, but that's gonna only make them survive for a little bit longer. You know, you can give them education, but like, whatever, it's hardly going to make any difference. There's only one thing that can actually change people. Like all this charity stuff we see in all these other places, you know, it's not really doing anything. Well, that's not true, is it? You know, charity work is way better than nothing, but what we need is missionaries. We need the gospel, because that's the only thing that makes people actually happy. All these people, like, when everyone has this image that all poor people are just super happy the whole time. Actually, no. I don't think these people were all super happy. They were just, like, driven and dedicated to surviving. You know, there hadn't been rain in 8 months when we were there, and so everything was dying. There was a man who showed us around, he had 26 cows, and he showed us 24 carcasses, and then you saw the really skinny cows in that edit. Those are his 2 remaining cows. Like, literally, there's nothing for them to eat. They're dying. But, you know, we can give them whatever, and it's not going to make a difference. They're not going to become suddenly happy. Like, literally, the gospel is all they need, and that was the biggest kind of challenge for us that we were seeing in those villages. But yeah, anyway, moving on. So then we all reconvened, and we were leading these camps. So there was a big kids camp and a big youth camp. So on the kids camp, there was like a team of 23 of us, I think, yeah, 11 Brits and 12 Kenyans, and we had 375 kids. You know, it's just a completely different thing to what you'd see in the UK. Like, these kids camps, you just get on with it. Like, in the small groups, just me and the girl from Samburu called Tareen, we just go find a tree to sit under, and we've got 30 kids, and we're just like, okay, we've got to teach these guys, you know, we've got nothing, like, we've had some paper for crafts and stuff, but otherwise, you just got yourself and the Bible and some imagination, you know, and the kids listened, and hopefully you learn loads of stuff. Like, it's just the way to do it. So, yeah, we were literally in charge of the kids camp. So the theme was, who is Jesus? And it's mind-blowing seeing how many kids come to this camp. Like, you know, that shows you the impact the Cowans have had on this area. Like, literally, the morning the camp started, Stephen just drives off in this big bus, and then he comes back later with just all these kids. And you're like, wow, okay, this is our responsibility now, and we've just got to teach them. You know, it's like the next generation. They do these camps 3 times a year. And so we were just given free rein of these April camps for this year, and yeah, it was just pretty epic, really. Like, everyone had a bit of a go at teaching. I didn't actually, because then for the youth camp, Ben and I, we were leading the talks on like 1 Thessalonians. We were doing massive cultural issues like, you know, sex, because they have all this polygamy and yeah, FGM, and just weird, you know, well, not, I can't really say weird, but you know, difficult views of young men and young women and that kind of thing. And so, you know, we were tackling all those issues, and then also things like cultural views of death and all of that. And it was just mind-blowing to have the opportunity to teach about those things. And we had this guy called Peter, who's from the Turkana County, which is neighbouring Samburu. And it was I loved watching him teach on like scripture verse culture. That was one of the big themes of one of the days. You know, seeing him, how he'd been completely ingrained in those cultures himself at one point, but now, you know, now that he's born again, he's saved, he's completely different, and he can just like defend the Bible view in contrast to what his culture and or maybe his friends would actually say. So that was so encouraging to see. What was I going to say about those camps? Yeah, we had like 150 youth attending that camp, up to age like 23. You know, they start high school at completely different times, so like that was really cool. It's like the next generation of Christians. Again, we were solely responsible for it, and experience I'll never forget. Weirdly, like it's the first time I've ever properly preached in front of a large crowd, and I would be surprised if in my lifetime if I ever have to preach to a more difficult crowd. Like that was just, I'm so grateful for that experience. I can't put it into words, literally, like, but yeah, so then for our last week, when those camps are done, we split half and half. I went with a group to a place called Wazarongai, which is like a farm, and we did a bunch of farming. We climbed a mountain, also in Tomb, which is the main place we were based for the whole time. We climbed the mountain there as well, which you saw in the video. Just generally had a good bit of banter. It was really awesome seeing this guy David Akiki and his farm, even in this place which is pretty much a desert. Like, wonderfully, a couple of days before we left, it actually started raining kind of torrentially. Like the drought seemed to be coming to an end. That was why when we were coming back in the drive, it was super wet and like, you know, rivers were bursting and everything. So that was really awesome to see. You know, I do wonder about when the Bible talks about heaven being like a river of life in a dry land. It's also a Citizens and Saints quote there, name the song. But yeah, you know, you really felt like how awesome that is as an image in such a desolate, dry, difficult place. Oh man, I could ramble on for ages, but I should probably stop. Yeah, so just to conclude, like, I hope you got a bit of an idea of what this experience was like. And I hope you can see that I'm a different person now. I don't know if I'll be back there. I'm sure I'd love to. I don't know about long term. It's not unrealistic. But my goodness, like, the heat makes it an incredibly difficult place to live. So I have such unbelievable respect for the Cowan family who are living there. Oh. Yeah, what can I say? Cheeky stuff.